edges of my tongue, and then about the time you think, well, this isn't that much of a big deal, the heat comes late. You want to try it?
Sure. I'm watching you first, though.
I do this every morning. It's not so bad for me.
Is that a good chunk?
Yeah, that's good. You just put it on the front of your tongue, and then just let it sit there for a minute.
If you think Tabasco is hot, the raw ingredients are 10 times hotter.
The heat kicks in.
Yeah, it does. I have newfound respect.
Peru. Tastes like candy.
Tastes like candy?
Smells like money.
Really loud.
Are
Really
there
loud.
secrets in here, though,
For
that
Joe.
you don't want the rest of the world to know?
Our formula is only red Tabasco mash, vinegar, and a little bit of salt. So I don't know how many secrets we could really have with a process that simple.
It was Simmons's great-great-grandfather, Edmund McElhenney, who created the sauce shortly after the Civil War. He began selling his concoction in old cologne bottles in New Orleans, calling it Tabasco.
There was no commercially sold hot sauce before Tabasco. Edmund invented the category.
He is sort of the father of hot sauce.
He's the father of hot sauce.
That would make this the first family of hot sauce.
That sounds real good.
The first family of hot sauce turned Tabasco into one of the oldest and largest family-owned and operated businesses in the country.
You're the 5th generation family member to run this business. How unlikely a story is this?
Only 30% of companies outlive the founder or move to a second generation, and only 12% of companies actually make it to the 3rd generation. So for us to be the 5th generation and still be doing this is a much smaller subset, I'm sure.
From the beginning, the company has always been run by and for family members. The top management, board, and 130 stockholders are all McElhenney descendants.
Estimates are that the sales are close to $200 million a year. Am I in the right ballpark?
You're probably in the right town.
Could you put me in a better ballpark?
No, we like I said, we just don't give out financial information.
What about margins? Profit margins? Can you talk about that?
Nope.
None of it.
None of it. It's a private, family-held business.
Is there any advantage to not sharing this information?
We're not sure, but we're probably not going to find out either.
Harold Took Osborne, another of Edmund's great-great-grandsons and Tony Simmons's younger cousin, is next in line to run the company.
Everyone calls you Took. Well, you're one of the senior guys in the company, the number 2. What does that say about this culture here?
When I came here, I put my name in the company directory as Harold. I didn't get any calls for the first 6 months because no one knew who Harold Osborne was. They all knew me as Took.
A decade from now, will one of the best-known companies in the world be run by a guy named Took?
Well, we might change that a little bit.
They're going to call you Mr. Took?
Mr. Took.
Even though he's the heir to the Tabasco crown, Osborne inspects the pepper bushes himself, much as his ancestors did, as this company film shows.
You have to walk through the field and we take rope and we say this plant, that plant. You can almost see the personality of the plants, and then we tie string around them and come back and pick just those plants for next year's season.
The company grows peppers on 20 acres of Avery Island, not to produce sauce, but to produce seeds, which are sent to farmers abroad.
It's essentially an heirloom plant, essentially the original stock.
So you're saying these peppers are genetically the same as the original peppers?
As far as we know, yes. We've never modified them.
These peppers are hand-picked. Why not use a machine or some sort of automation to make that easier?
We don't want to change the plant. That's the way most, like in the cucumber world or potatoes or anything else, you modify the plant to work for a harvester. Every time you breed something, you give away something, and taste is always the first thing that gets cast away.
Key to the taste of the sauce are the seeds, and they're irreplaceable.
We have a vault in our office. And we keep them, a vault. We keep
seeds in the vault.
Keep seeds in the vault.
Farmers in Latin America and Africa use those seeds to grow 10 million pounds of peppers. They mix them with salt, grind them, and ship the mash back to Avery Island, where it's aged in oak barrels that were once used by the finest whiskey makers in the country. The barrels do have to be modified, though. In particular, the metal hoops.
We'll have to put stainless steel on them.
Why?
The acidity of the peppers.
The peppers could eat through the steel that's on there in the first place? Coy Booty is in charge of the warehouse. He's also a fourth-generation Tabasco employee, something that's pretty common around here.
My grandfather, he ran our processing department. My mom works in our HR department, and my dad runs our maintenance shop.
How big a part of your life would you say Tabasco is?
I guess my whole life I was born and raised here.
You eat Tabasco every day?
I eat Tabasco every day, morning, lunch, and supper.
As the mash slumbers for 3 years, spider webs grow on the 60,000-barrel inventory.
The last time I saw this many barrels was usually a place like a winery.
We think about our process similar to the way I think a winemaker would think about his process.
Once Simmons approves the mash, it moves on to the next pungent stage.
We add vinegar to fill the tank, and then we mix it and stir it for up to about 28 days. And you get the vinegar
away. You ever get used to it?
I don't know if you can get used to it, but it doesn't affect you quite as much after a while.
The sauce is then strained and bottled. The company's 200-person workforce can produce more than 700,000 bottles a day.
This is a big product around the world. I mean, how big are we talking about?
We are currently shipping to 166 countries.
Do you want to be in every country in the world?
Well, yes, we do.
Meanwhile, the hot sauce industry in the U.S. is on fire, with revenue of more than $1 billion. Eating spicy food has risen in popularity. It's even become a competitive sport.
You got hotter?
This will be a 20-minute burn.
As can be seen at this chili festival near Dallas.
It's hot.
Lately, Tabasco, the grandfather of condiments, is trying to keep pace with these brash new rivals.
The market itself has been growing, and the more people that come into this category, we think the better it is, because if you begin to use hot sauce, we think sooner or later you're going to find Tabasco, and when you do, we're going to get you.
You're going to hook them.
We're going to hook them.
Avery Island is located in hurricane country, making Tabasco very vulnerable. In 2005, Hurricane Rita caused massive flooding.
How at risk was Tabasco?
We had 4 inches before water would have come into a food plant, and you can imagine we would have been shut down for months and months.
That's very close to being on the edge.
It's the only place in the world we make Tabasco.
In order for the family to protect Tabasco, they must first protect Avery Island. Fighting the erosion of Louisiana's picturesque bayous is a constant challenge for Took Osborne.
Some of the problems that we have are saltwater intrusion. If you bring direct sea salt in, it will kill all this grass.
Without the grass, the area's biodiversity will also disappear. So the company has a program to replant new grass.
It's an indigenous grass, so it's very inexpensive to do. It's very effective. It grows fast. What you see here is this grass will start spreading out by the roots, and it stops the sediment that's floating by it, and the sediment drops out and builds marsh.
In just a few years, this will turn into this. As much as they like to talk about their conservation efforts, the family also leases their land for oil and gas drilling, as well as salt mining.
Those two things seem at odds with one another.
No, because we use those resources to actually help the parts of the land where the oil isn't.
How does that benefit Avery Island and Tabasco?
All this land protects the island, protects it from storms, protects it from erosion, and it's part of our heritage.
That heritage includes unique Cajun musical and culinary traditions that the McElhenney family cherishes.
If you work on the leg, you can get some of that nice crab meat out by bringing that leg out.
And at the heart of Cajun cuisine is Cajun ketchup.
Could you do what you've done here with Tabasco someplace other than Avery Island?
I think we could make Tabasco, but I'm not sure that the joy would be anywhere near as great if it wasn't being done where it is.
They are fiercely protective of their island, their business, and their sauce, which has been trademarked since 1906.
Now that I've been here for a couple of days, I sort of feel like I got the formula for this Tabasco down. And if I wanted to go out and create
Sanjay's Tabasco sauce, what would happen to me?
If you called it Sanjay's Tabasco sauce, you'd get a cease and desist letter from us pretty quickly saying that you can't use the word Tabasco in that context. You could call it Sanjay's hot sauce made with Tabasco peppers, but you couldn't call it Sanjay's Tabasco sauce.
How far would you guys go to enforce that?
We'll go to court with you. Absolutely.
There will be no other Tabasco sauces out there?
No.
There's been rumors that there have been offers for purchase of Tabasco.
Mm-hmm.
People would offer $1 billion, maybe even more. Is there any amount of money that would make this company for sale?
The shareholders of the company would have to decide what they want to do.
And they say, Mr. CEO, what's your recommendation?
You know, I like owning a family business.